Anand, your thoughts on a stock down 8% on this headline?
Yeah, this was a disappointment, to be quite honest. We had expected better numbers both from the PC group as well as the data center group. Margins are weak both in 3Q and 4Q. I mean, the PCs being as strong as they are, we had expected much more upside, and it did come through, but the magnitude of the upside isn't there. And then on the data center group, pretty substantial weakness in average selling prices, potentially an indication of how competitive AMD is now in the space. And then next quarter, we had expected some sort of digestion period from the cloud companies for sure, but the magnitude of the weakness in the data center group in the next quarter is also a little higher than we had expected. And then, as you mentioned, the buybacks as well. So all in, this is, this was a sort of a low bar quarter from an expectation standpoint, but they certainly did not meet it.
AMD got a little pop on after-hours trading on the back of this. And what's Intel getting so wrong? What do you need to hear from management? Because in the second quarter, we almost had the CEO coming out in an emergency, sort of trying to describe what was going on at the business, why they had to delay some of their production. Is he going to have to come out and really try and soothe investors' nerves once again, and will it work?
Yeah, so that's a fantastic question, and unfortunately, the problem lies within the core of Intel. They have this vast library of intellectual property across various different kinds of chips for the data center, but they haven't been able to put it together by any stretch. And then while they're trying to accumulate all of this library, the core has gotten weaker and weaker and weaker. I specifically mean CPUs for the PC, CPUs for servers, where AMD has gotten competitively stronger. So the analogy is to a broad-based ice cream shop, and the chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry, the core mainstays of your ice cream shop, if you may, are starting to smell a little funny, and they haven't been able to fix the problem relative to AMD or NVIDIA, whose ice cream shops, by every stretch, are much, much smaller, fewer specialty flavors, but they're executing really well in what they are focused on. So disappointing. I don't know if it's engineering talent. I don't know if it's manufacturing issues. Don't know if it is basically, it's certainly not sales and marketing. So it's unclear whether they have a near-term fix that is going to be good enough, competitively timely enough to stave off AMD. And the answer to that is evident in the data center pricing, where it was off pretty substantially, down 15% year on year, with unit volumes up 4%. That was a little nerve-wracking to me. So this was, by any stretch, they're not out of the woods yet, and they've got a bunch of things that they need to do to fix the problem.
Yeah, and while you're speaking here, Anand, there are headlines crossing the wire from an interview with CFO George Davis saying they are committed to using whatever production works best, and that there is right now no update on this process technology roadmap and the progress on that, which seems to be what a lot of investors want. I'm curious as to what this means for Intel's competitors.
Competitive landscape is widening by every stretch, right? So if you look at CPUs and servers versus CPUs 10 years ago, there's a lot more choices. You have CPUs, you have what NVIDIA introduced just as DPUs, you have general purpose GPUs, you have general purpose FPGAs that can be combined. So the broad question is, okay, are CPUs in the core mainstay of computing to the same degree that they were 10 years ago? And the answer to that is no. But even in the core part, you have a more competitive AMD, which certainly doesn't have all the bells and whistles of Intel, but their price performance is much better than Intel. You get a much better product for a slightly lower price, and people are wondering why I can't use this for at least some of my workloads. So you have a multi-pronged attack. Some of the flavors are being taken away by the likes of NVIDIA, and some of the core mainstay is being attacked by better performance, lower priced CPUs from AMD.